uncomfortable I was watching myself. But thank you. Your Excellency, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Her Ladyship Gertrude Esaba Saki-Tokonu, Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, the Right Honorable Edward Do Ajaho, Chairman of the Council of State, members of the Council of State, the Honorable Chief of Staff Julius Debra, the Honorable Minister for Finance Dr. Kaisel Ato Forson, Ministers and Deputy Ministers of State, Dr. Ishmael Yamson, and I call him Uncle Yamson, Chairman of the National Economic Dialogue Planning Committee, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Isiama, former governors of the Bank of Ghana, heads of security services, the Dean and members of the Diplomatic Corps, His Royal Majesty King Takiteku Churu II, the Gamanche, heads of political parties, captains of industry, chiefs and queen mothers, friends from the media, fellow countrymen, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and a deep sense of responsibility that I welcome you to this National Economic Dialogue. This gathering is more than just a symbolic exercise or the fulfillment of a campaign promise. It is a decisive step in our collective responsibility to reset Ghana's economy, restore confidence, and build the prosperous future we all envision. Today we are here to begin the process of engaging in honest, solution-driven discussions about the challenges we face and the opportunities before us. Our nation stands at a pivotal moment, and the choices we make now will determine the trajectory of our economy for generations to come. As President, I have the honor of leading the conversation on the theme, Resetting Ghana, Building the Economy We Want Together. This theme reflects our shared commitment to creating an economy that is resilient, inclusive, and built on sustainable growth. It is an invitation to all stakeholders to contribute their expertise, ideas, and dedication to this national effort. Ghana is at a critical crossroads in its economic development. The challenges before us are stark, and the economic distress we face are undeniable. However, our collective resilience, ingenuity, and determination have always been the driving force of our nation's progress. We are not here merely to recount our struggles, nor are we here to resign ourselves to economic stagnation. We are here to seek solutions, to adopt strategies that will put us on a sustainable growth trajectory, and to ensure that we build an economy that works for every Ghanaian. For me, this is not just another policy discussion. It is an urgent call to action. A crucial moment for us as stakeholders to unite with purpose and resolve the challenges that face us. We've gathered here to create a powerful platform where government officials, policymakers, business leaders, economists, industry experts, development partners, and other key figures come together to shape the future of our nation. The insights, diverse perspectives, and actionable recommendations that emerge from these discussions must transcend theoretical frameworks and drive real, impactful decisions that will guide our national economy forward. Throughout our engagement, we will focus on practical strategies to restore macroeconomic stability and pave the way for long-term economic transformation. This includes developing policies that stimulate growth and create sustainable job opportunities for our rapidly growing population. We'll also examine the structural reforms that are necessary to unleash the private sector's potential and make it truly the engine of growth that drives job creation and innovation. Strengthening economic governance institutions will be a key topic of discussion, ensuring transparency and accountability at all levels of government, while taking decisive action to combat corruption and other things that hinder our progress. It is vital that as we move towards a more prosperous future, and that the economic gains we achieve are distributed equitably, leaving no one behind and fostering inclusive growth that benefits every sector of society, from the most marginalized communities to the industrial leaders of tomorrow. This dialogue is a defining moment, and our decisions must set the course for a more resilient, prosperous, and equitable economy for generations to come. When I assumed office barely 2 months ago, I inherited an economy that was in a state of deep crisis, one that was weighted down by numerous challenges. The economy was reeling from unprecedented levels of debt, soaring inflation, high unemployment, declining levels of foreign direct investment, and low business confidence. The financial struggles that our nation is facing have not arisen overnight. They have been the result of several years of financial mismanagement, irresponsible borrowing, reckless spending, and weak leadership that failed to address the underlying structural issues within our economy. This pervasive mismanagement culminated in Ghana's defaults on its debt obligations. This marked a devastating milestone for our dear country, spawning a cascade of economic problems that have severely impacted our people. Huge fiscal deficits, excessive government expenditures, and overall financial imprudence have compromised our economic resilience. Credible rating agencies such as Moody's, Fitch, Standard & Poor have all downgraded our international credit rating consecutively, leading to capital flight and a loss of investor confidence and trust. The Bank of Ghana, instead of serving as an independent monetary authority, became a financing tool for government's excesses, fueling inflation and devaluing our currency. The cost of living has skyrocketed to unbearable levels, leaving families grappling with the inability to afford even the most basic necessities. At the same time, inflation erodes the value of wages and savings, pushing many into a cycle of poverty. Meanwhile, the ill-considered collapse of indigenous banks significantly reduced indigenous presence in Ghana's financial and banking space and led to massive job losses. For too long, Ghana has been plagued by short-term decision-making that prioritizes political expediency over long-term stability. We refuse to accept this as Ghana's reality. We reject the notion that economic hardship must be our norm. We refuse to surrender to the forces of stagnation and decline. We are gathered here today because we believe in Ghana's ability to rise again. We are gathered here to reclaim our country's economic strength and emerge as a beacon of progress on the African continent. Not only a beacon of democracy, but a beacon of economic prosperity. This dialogue here today must serve as that turning point, a forum where we move beyond diagnosing the problems and instead implement concrete pragmatic solutions to reposition Ghana on a path of sustainable growth. As President, I am committed to ensuring that the lessons learned from this crisis will shape the decisions we make in the years ahead. The mistakes of the past must not define our future, and I vow to do everything in my power to steer this nation towards a brighter and more prosperous path. My fellow citizens, I know that the road to economic recovery will be challenging, but we must not relent in our quest to rebuild the Ghana we all want for the sake of our children and our children's children. We owe it to ourselves, our children, and our country to rebuild an economy that is resilient, that is sustainable and capable of delivering real opportunities for every citizen. My priority as President is to restore macroeconomic stability. We must enforce responsible public financial management and ensure fiscal discipline at all levels of government while working to reduce hardships for our people. Under my leadership, the Bank of Ghana's independence will be safeguarded to implement prudent monetary policies that curb inflation, that stabilize our currency, and rebuild our foreign reserves. We must never again allow reckless borrowing and excessive government spending to undermine our progress. Fiscal responsibility must become the bedrock of our national development strategy, and every cedi spent must deliver tangible value to the Ghanaian people. We must review our laws. Thank you. We must review our laws to eliminate excessive waste in the procurement of government supplies and projects. Single source procurement must be the rare exception rather than the norm. We must also subject government projects above a certain threshold to value for money audits. And just this morning I was reviewing some of the procurement reports. And there was this procurement for poultry farmers, 10,000 units of something. And it was single source. The reason for single source was urgency. And one company was giving the contract to supply 10,000 units of whatever it was. The supplier and the person who assembles it was not allowed to bid. And so the company that won it went to the supplier, bought the items for 4,500 and came and sold them for 6,600 to government and walked away with 21 million cedis on that supply. I mean, how can you do this? I mean, it was our own company we're running. How would we do a thing like this? But that is government bleeding. Everybody cutting their pound of flesh. That must stop. Beyond stabilization, we must undertake a fundamental transformation of our economic structure. Ghana's economy has been heavily reliant on the export of raw materials, such as gold, cocoa, and crude oil, leaving us vulnerable to global price fluctuations and external shocks. We must end this dependence. It is time to transition to a value-added industrialized economy that creates jobs, that boosts exports, and reduces our reliance on imports. Manufacturing and agro-processing must be expanded to ensure that we derive maximum value from our natural resources. Just recently, I think yesterday, the former Chief Justice of this country asked for a review of agreements governing our extractive industry. She describes the current agreements as coming from the Guggisberg era. I agree with her. There must be increased indigenous participation in the exploitation of our natural resources. Ghana must earn more from its natural resource endowment if we are to create wealth and prosperity for our people. My fellow citizens, agriculture is a vital sector of our economy that must be modernized through mechanization, improved irrigation, and the adoption of technology-driven innovations to enhance productivity and ensure food security. We must also harness the power of technology to bridge the digital divide, ensuring that every Ghanaian, no matter their location or background, has access to the opportunities that the digital economy provides. High-speed internet and robust digital infrastructure are no longer luxuries. They are necessities that fuel economic growth and global competitiveness. My fellow citizens, all this must be underpinned by urgent governance reforms that promote transparency and hold leadership accountable to the people in whom sovereignty resides. The policies required to bring our economy back on track and sustain the gains made will require multi-stakeholder buy-in. Short-term convenience, which has informed economic decision-making in the past, must give way to long-term and medium and long-term strategic planning, which will help us to avoid the cyclical economic booms and busts that have wreaked havoc on our people. My fellow citizens, I have the political will to see through such reforms, but these reforms must be the product of our collective thinking and synthesization of well-considered proposals from stakeholders in the Ghanaian economy, and that is why we are here this morning. As I had cause to say when I delivered the message on the state of the nation to Parliament last week, consensus building and consultation will be the hallmark of this administration. Because I believe that all of us as Ghanaians have a role to play in the development of our dear nation. And I would very much like to be remembered as the president who provided the platform for this to happen. My fellow Ghanaians, a new era is upon us, an era of bold transformation, economic expansion, and limitless opportunities. At the heart of our vision for Ghana's future is the implementation of a 24-hour economy that works for all. This strategy will revolutionize our economic landscape. It will create sustainable jobs and position Ghana as a competitive force on the global stage. Across the world, thriving economies have embraced continuous productivity, ensuring that businesses, industries, and essential services operate around the clock to maximize growth and prosperity. It is time for Ghana to also step forward and break free from the limitations of a traditional economy and embrace a future where opportunity is not confined by time. Under this initiative, this administration is committed to providing incentives and tax breaks for manufacturers and businesses that extend their operational hours, encouraging a shift-based employment system that expands job opportunities. We will strengthen key sectors such as manufacturing, retail, healthcare, logistics, and financial services to support such continuous operation. We will invest in infrastructure, energy, and security to ensure businesses and workers operate in a safe and efficient environment. We will enhance transportation systems to facilitate the movement of workers and goods at all hours of the day and night. We will implement fair labor practices that protect workers' rights while fostering productivity and economic growth. The time for transformation is now. Let us embrace our economic transformation and unlock the full potential of our beloved country. Let us work together to build a resilient, competitive, and a prosperous Ghana. I fully understand that the road ahead will not be easy, but it is a road we must travel. The responsibility for rebuilding Ghana's economy does not rest on government's shoulders alone. It is a shared responsibility that requires the active participation of every Ghanaian. Let us rise to the occasion, take decisive and necessary action, and ensure that we leave behind a legacy of economic resilience, stability, and prosperity for future generations. Let me take this opportunity to thank Uncle Ishmael Yamson and the National Economic Dialogue team for the hard work you have put in bringing us here together for this all-important event. I wish to thank all of you who have taken the opportunity to be here with us this morning for your commitment to this national dialogue and for your dedication to the progress of our nation. Together, we'll build the Ghana we want and a robust economy of our own design and creation. I therefore have the honor and privilege to declare this National Economic Dialogue 2025 duly open.